Welcome friends of Misteri e Ombre. Another year has passed, and a new Halloween to celebrate has arrived. We couldn't miss the opportunity to celebrate this night with you, offering you a special edition of Halloween based on a chilling new story. One of those disturbing stories that you like to listen alone in the light of a consumed candle, or together with other friends who share the atmosphere of this party with you. Every detail of this story is creepy, every step is capable of giving shivers. This is the reason why this story based on real events must be followed to the end without losing a single word, and in doing so, we promise you that what we will reveal will make you look with suspicion at every object that decorates and furnishes your home, objects that at first sight seems harmless, but which could hide terrifying backstories. Before starting, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to not miss the next videos. And now, here it is, Halloween Special Edition, The Curse of the Paintings of the Crying Children. It is 1985, and a group of people including journalists, artists, folklore scholars, but also ordinary and curious people, gathers on the banks of the Thames to observe a singular event. On Halloween evening of that year, following a specific invitation published by the British tabloid The Sun, these people attended a particular ceremony, a bonfire, but not one of those characterized by laughter, guitars, and songs. But rather, a fire observed in rigorous silence, with anxiety, terror, and perhaps a bit of hope. That night, the witnesses of the bonfire saw flames very high and fueled by the most strange of materials, hundreds of paintings and prints by a single artist, who had as the main subject to inspire the movement of his brushes. Children in tears. Between the crackle of the fire, the lights and shadows of the flames, and the enchanted gazes of those present, there was a man, a fireman, who was there, not to supervise over the ceremony, but like many others to breathe a sigh of relief. Remember this character, because we will come back to him shortly. The events we are telling you are a mystery within the mystery. Yes, because the story of the artist-author of these paintings is shrouded in a thick fog, little information and incomplete, in a tangle of official news and urban legends. His name is Giovanni Bragolin, at least this is the signature mentioned on the artist's paintings. But Bragolin is only a pseudonym, which hides the identity of Bruno Amadio, a painter who really existed, born and grown in Venice, where he studied and taught at the Art Academy. Amadio lived for a long time in Spain, between Madrid and Seville, and in Italy as in Spain, his main source of income was to sell his works to art collectors and tourists. From the story Rebuild, the painter's family, confirming his skills, declared that Amadio's favorite subjects were nature, female and religious portraits, and that the paintings of crying children were hated by their author, so much so that he used the pseudonym of Giovanni Bragolin instead of his real name. Despite this, Amadio or Bragolin became famous precisely for those paintings, for a collection of 27 portraits of children with tears on their faces. After the years he lived in Spain, in the 60s Amadio returned to Venice, his hometown, and died at the age of 70 in 1981. And it is precisely following his death that strange events and coincidences have given fame to children's paintings. Amadio, during his activity as an artist, concluded a contract with a British company, which acquired the rights to reproduce and commercialize precisely those portraits despised by the author. These paintings, and their reproductions, were sold in thousands of copies for a few pennies mainly in the United States and England. One night, Ron and May Hall's home in South Yorkshire collapsed in a fire. Everything was charred, living room, curtains, furniture, making the owners lose almost everything except one object, a painting of a crying child. The painting was there, intact, not even blackened by the smoke. And those big tearful eyes looked at the unfortunate hall spouses, who were also in tears for the tragedy. It was not the first time that the image of a crying child was found in the rubble of a house on fire, and always intact when all the rest was just ashes. Ron and May had also heard of this story, but perhaps it was underestimated. The first to notice these strange coincidences was a firefighter from the county of Essex bordering Greater London. An increasing number of fires had struck the country, and in most cases, the causes of the fire could not be found, but mysteriously, the paintings of the weeping children were found intact. On September 4, 1985, the British tabloid The Sun published an article entitled "The Curse of the Crying Boy." A story and testimonies from firefighters about a very unfortunate painting that caused many fires. The story soon attracted the attention of many people, first the owners of these paintings and prints, but also journalists, public persons, entertainers, such as the English comedian Stephen Punt. Punt retraced the houses involved in those fires and found Jane McCutcheon, the owner of one of these prints who, while cleaning the house, noticed that the curtains were suddenly and inexplicably ablaze. Her family escaped, her home destroyed, but the child's painting was there without damages. During the intervention of the fire brigade, she heard a fireman exclaim,
"Oh no, not another one of these paintings."
Many hypotheses were made about this alleged curse, and the most rational was that these paintings being commercially widespread in England, a large number of people owned one and the same would have been painted in their original versions with fire-retardant paint. The prints instead were made of very compressed cardboard, which made them particularly resistant to flames. This theory, even if logical, does not explain the testimonies of many of these fires that have been declared inexplicable as phenomena of self-combustion, and this lack of a definitive explanation gave room to numerous superstitions. Many began to believe the curse of the crying children paintings, and it extended not only to Bragolin's paintings, but also to other artists who painted similar subjects. For some, Bragolin, due to his frustration and lack of success, would have made a pact with the devil to be able to sell his works, thus obtaining fame as an artist, but for this, the devil would have cursed the paintings. Another reconstruction of the history of these paintings attributes the pseudonym of Bragolin to a painter from Madrid, Frank at Seville. The artist allegedly used as models for his subject orphan of war, including a child nicknamed El Diablo, whose suffering or badness would have spilled over to the buyers of the paintings. A further story is that of the Spanish orphanage, where Bragolin allegedly mistreated children to make them cry and have his own inspiration for the paintings. Those children who tragically perished in a fire that destroyed the orphanage would have poured out their revenge by cursing the paintings. Experts of esotericism affirmed that the paintings for their power were not attackable by fire. The paints were seen swinging on the walls without the support of a nail, and that, if treated in a certain way, they would instead bring luck. The fact is that the fears of this alleged curse pushed hundreds of owners to respond to the appeal of the newspaper The Sun, which invited everyone to send the paintings and prints to the editorial office to be able to burn them and exorcise the curse. On Halloween night in 1985, several sacks of paintings were set on fire on the banks of the Thames, and among the people attending the event the fire officer, who at the end of the ceremony said,
"I think now there will be many people who will be able to breathe a sigh of relief."
What do you think of this curse? Do you also possess objects that you consider esoteric, or with strange powers, or of which you are even afraid? Write it down in a comment. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel Misteri e Ombre to not miss the next upcoming videos. Don't forget to share these fascinating stories with friends. Happy Halloween! See you at the next mystery.